Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're diving into something that literally runs our modern world. But let's be honest, usually starts out looking like a massive, overwhelming mess. Yep, we're talking about data. We're going to explore the whole journey of data handling, transforming those chaotic numbers into really compelling visual stories. Let's see how some foundational organization techniques can actually give you the power to decode the world around you. Here's our roadmap for today. We'll start by making sense of raw data, then bring some order with frequency tables. Next, we're comparing things with bar graphs, measuring intervals with histograms, and finally, seeing the whole pie. All right, section 1, making sense of raw data. What is data, really? Before we throw any textbook definitions at you, I want you to just ask yourself, what is data, really? We hear the word constantly, right? The data says this, or we don't have enough data. But when you strip away all the tech jargon, what are we actually looking at? Well, it basically boils down to two really simple foundational concepts. Whenever we gather information in various fields, we're usually collecting numerical figures. Each one of those individual figures, that's an observation. It's just a single fact. Put all those observations together, and boom, that collection is your data. It's just a collection of numerical facts about a specific topic. Simple, right? But, here is exactly where the headache usually begins. When we first collect all these observations, they definitely don't come in a nice, neat little package. This initial pile of numbers is called raw data. It's exactly what you have right after you finish your survey or your experiment, before you've done absolutely any organization whatsoever. And trust me, looking at raw data can be an incredibly overwhelming experience. Let me show you exactly what I mean. Okay, imagine we survey 20 families in a neighborhood just to find out the number of children in each family. Our raw data looks exactly like this. 2, 2, 3, 1, 1, 2, 3, 2, 2, 1, 2, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 1, 3, 2, 2. I mean, wait, what? If your eyes are kind of glazing over reading that list, you are definitely not alone. It's literally just a wall of numbers. Our brains just aren't wired to instantly extract meaning from a random, unorganized string of digits like that. We need a hero here. We need structure. Which brings us to section 2, order with frequency tables. Finding the pattern in the chaos. What a relief. A frequency distribution table, or tally chart, takes that exact same messy list we just looked at and beautifully organizes it. We just list out the possible observations, so families having 1, 2, or 3 children, and use simple tally marks to count them up. Instantly, you can see that 1 occurs 6 times, 2 occurs 10 times, and 3 occurs 4 times. Pure chaos immediately becomes readable information. It is honestly just immediate cognitive relief. Moving right along to section 3, comparing with bar graphs, visualizing comparisons. Now, before we graph anything, let's look at some new data. Here we have the number of pets, dogs, cats, and birds, owned by students across 2 different classes, Class A and Class B. Now, reading this table is perfectly fine, but doing the mental ping-pong back and forth to compare the classes for each pet, it takes a bit of effort. We want something way faster. And this right here brilliantly illustrates the absolute power of visual data. By turning that table into a double bar graph, the comparison is instantly readable. The green bars represent Class A, and the orange bars are Class B. Right off the bat, your eye tells you dogs are the most popular pet overall, and that Class B has just a few more dogs than Class A. You don't even have to read the numbers. The physical height of those bars is doing all the heavy lifting for your brain. Bar graphs use distinct categories, like dog, cat, or bird, to make these immediate, striking comparisons. Next up, section 4, measuring intervals with histograms, the no spaces rule. Now, the absolutely crucial point here is understanding the difference between separate categories and continuous intervals. A standard bar graph uses completely separate categories, right? Like a dog or a cat. Because a dog is entirely different from a cat, there are spaces between the bars to show that physical separation. But a histogram shows the frequency of data within continuous equal intervals. Since the numbers just keep flowing seamlessly from one interval right into the next, there are absolutely no spaces between the bars in a histogram. None. Let's ground this with a real-world example. Here's a table showing the number of hours students watch TV in a single week. Instead of separate categories like dog or cat, we have these continuous blocks of time. 1 to 3 hours, 4 to 6 hours, and 7 to 9 hours. Though, honestly, I kind of want to meet the student pulling off exactly 9 hours of TV and still getting all their homework done. But jokes aside, notice how these are continuous, equal blocks of time.
When we plot that TV data, we get this histogram. Take a look at the axis at the bottom. It flows from 1 to 3, right into 4 to 6, right into 7 to 9. Time doesn't just stop, so our visual doesn't stop either. The blue, yellow, and purple bars are physically touching. That no spaces visual rule is a massive clue. It instantly tells anyone looking that we're measuring a continuous flow of data across equal intervals, not separate, disjointed categories. It is just incredibly precise visual communication.
All right, final stop, section 5. Seeing the whole pie, visualizing parts of a whole. So a pie chart is simply a visual chart contained inside a circle, or a pie, to represent something. But its true superpower really lies in its geometry. A circle inherently represents 100% of a single, complete entity. When you use a pie chart, you're basically telling the viewer, hey, here is the entire thing, and here is exactly how it's sliced up. Here's a perfect practical application of that. Representing a single calendar year, broken down into liturgical seasons. The entire circle is one complete year. The slices show exactly how much of that year is dedicated to ordinary time in green, compared to the much smaller slices for Lent or Advent in purple. You literally don't even need the numbers to instantly grasp the proportion of the year each season takes up. The visual size of the slice communicates everything in a split second. And this perfectly shows how versatile your presentation can be. Over on the left, we've got a super standard pie chart using percentages. It's clean, it's functional, perfect for a professional report. But on the right, we have what's called an exploded pie chart, where one slice is literally pulled out from the center. This is such a brilliant design trick when you want to force the viewer's eye right to one specific piece of data within the whole. It basically screams, hey, look at this piece. This is the most important part of the story. It just proves that presenting data isn't just rigid math, it's a super dynamic, stylized tool for getting your point across. And honestly, that is the ultimate takeaway from our explainer today. We started with this chaotic, overwhelming wall of raw numbers, and by using tallies, bars, histograms, and pies, we found absolute clarity. Data isn't just something for boring textbooks or massive supercomputers. It's an incredibly powerful storytelling tool that helps us actually see the world clearly. So as you go out and encounter floods of information in your own life, I want to leave you with this. Now that you know how to organize the chaos, what story will your data tell? Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and keep exploring.